Welcome back to Briggs on Books, our international talk show where we talk to authors from all over the world. We've talked today to an author from Wales in United Kingdom and another one in New South Wales, which it turns out that's not in United Kingdom, that's in Australia. But just to keep things fair and balanced, our next author, D.G. McCool, is in Trinity, Texas, somewhere around Houston. Is that right?
Yes, sir. Just a little bit north of Houston.
I'll tell you what we really want to know. By the way, I'll pop up one of your book covers for a second, but I want to talk about Ghosts of Holler Ridge. We're going to talk about that in just a second, Dale's latest book. But before we get to that, is there some kind of eclipse coming?
That's what I keep hearing. It's coming. It's going to be really hitting Texas pretty well when it gets here.
Yeah, in your area, I think.
Yeah, just a little bit west of here, yes.
Oh, so you might almost get 100%.
I think we might.
Yeah. That'd be exciting. Texas has a lot of dark skies, I know, if you get in the right place.
Right.
So you'll really be able to see. They say you'll be able to, with your naked eye, be able to see some planets and stars we've never even dreamed of before if it gets dark enough.
Right.
Now, let me ask you this. Here's your latest book, Ghosts of Hollow Ridge. Tell us about that, DG, or
sure.
Dale McCool, I call him everybody. But
and that's great. Dale's fine. This is a book I worked with two of my daughters, Cassie and Brandy, on it. And the three of us got together, outlined the book based on, we actually lived in a house at the time in the past on a street called Hollow Ridge. And we actually had what we believed to be a real ghost at that house. So we were reminiscing on the topic, and we decided to write a ghost story about it. So I helped them write it, but we placed it in the 1800s up in Delaware. And then we wrote a whole backstory for it and everything. And it's gotten some really good reviews. It's a quick 2-hour read. It's not a real large book. But it kind of goes through events that happen to a family that moves into a supposed haunted mansion, and there are ghosts in the house. And then beyond that, they find out there's a lot of other secret things that's been happening in that home. And I don't want to give away the whole storyline, but it's pretty intense. I've had people say it's enjoyable. I have people say it scared the heck out of them. Yeah. And it's kind of funny, but I think it's a good, quick read if you like a little bit of ghost and scary stories.
Yeah, by the way, I had not looked that close, but it does say also by Cassie and Brandy.
Yeah, they're two of my daughters.
Now, let me ask you this because, you got a lot of books out, a lot of science fiction about aliens and stuff. And yes. I had to ask you about the alien one. Is this book real or is it a story? Same with this one. It's kind of real, but it's also a story?
About the Dark World series last time and a little bit about future conquest and events we faced, but then the rest of the story is fictional.
Okay, very good. Very exciting, though. I want to you got a lot of books out. I know we can't even begin to talk about all of them, but let's jump to this Enchanted Forest.
Okay. What Enchanted Forest is myself and my wife did. We have several grandchildren and a great-grandchild. And the art of parents sitting down and telling their children nighttime stories has kind of fallen away because kids have cell phones and internet. And so we kind of outlined a book on how to get back to parents and grandparents telling bedtime stories. And so it's kind of an outline of what you should look at, and it kind of highlights some very popular stories. And then Chapter 8 is written about a character named Penelope, which happens to be the name of our great-granddaughter. And it's a fictional story, but it kind of takes her through a little scenario. And that's the whole reason for the book. It's out in ebook on Amazon and other places in ebook. But it's to kind of have parents read it, kind of re-engage their kids, and grandkids.
It's so important. We have a lot of children's book authors on our show. And the pitch I always give is for our viewers, when you order this book, order one to send to grandma. Don't just buy children's books for children. Send them to grandma because kids love to have their grandma and grandpa read them books. And it's another market to sell books to, by the way, also. Now, tell me about this Wilson. Senior Care Guide for your multi-poo. What's a multi-poo?
Okay, a multi-poo is a little combination of a poodle and a Maltese. And I've got our family, we have a 13-year-old 3-pound, and that's his photo on the cover when he's been spruced up. And he's tiny. And we talked about him. He's getting ready to be 14 in May. Mm-hmm. And we figured we need to kind of look at what health care issues could he have. And this book can apply to any dog, but just some very specific things aimed at that breed of dog. And we kind of outlined the things you should look at and as your dog gets older to make sure that you help them maintain their health.
Yeah, this Maltipoo is getting very popular.
Yeah, there are a lot of people getting them, and the ones his size are very rare. A 5 to 8 pound seems to be kind of a normal, and him being 3 pounds, he's not that large.
Yeah, but that's good. So this is your nonfiction book. This one really is real.
Yeah, that one is very real, and but yeah, it's about our little dog Wilson.
What else do you have coming up? You wrote books with your wife. You wrote books with your daughters.
Right, and I still got book 4 of The Dark World that's been kind of put on hold, and I got to get it out. I have readers asking me for it, and it's going to come out in the next quarter. Beyond that, I have a couple books that aren't. One is the Guardians book, and it's basically a background on these characters called Truth Dreamers, which are in Dark World. And I think I sent you a cover. It's got a black cover with a symbol on it. And that one, I kind of wrote it like it would be a real group of people that you would join. And so it kind of tells you how to become one and all the requirements. And if you read it, you'd think it's a real a position in life. So that's what that one is. And then the gray one, that's the Dark Side of Heaven. It has, and it's somewhat the fallen angels, and there's a lot of people, and in the Ghost of Hollow Ridge, there's a little segment in there about fools in the Book of Enoch. And so in this book, because I was researching for that book, I have quite a bit of data, and so it's more of just a reference read about the Enoch and all the fallen angel stories and how they tie into around the world and how they tie into a lot of the occult stuff. So the people think of an angel as, pearly white with wings, bright glow. But there were some fallen angels in the Book of Enoch that were anything but that. They were having relations with humans and creating giants and all kinds of things in the Book of Enoch. So I kind of highlight a lot of that in that one.
The Book of Enoch is an actual book in the Bible?
Yeah, what it did, it was a book. And when they created the Bible, it got left out of the Bible. It had a lot of controversial things that the people who were taking all the book, up until the point that they formalized the Bible, it was one of the books that was read by the religious people at the time. It didn't make the cut, and so it's part of the Apocrypha. And I've got a book that's got 54 different books that were one time considered biblical or religious that didn't make the cut, and so they're kind of in a standalone group now called the Apocrypha. Anybody ever wants to read them, you can Google it, but the Book of Enoch was probably the most popular of that group that didn't make it, and it falls in right ahead of Noah, after Adam and before Noah in the Bible timeline.
Yeah, it's a pretty jump in history that was always wondered about. I was embarrassed. I think, Book of Enoch, maybe I don't know my Bible like I thought I did.
Right. It's, again, there are, like we talked about with the aliens and stuff, there are people that believe this is very true, and just like people believe the aliens are very true. And when you get into this group of people, they very well believe most of what's in the Book of Enoch and the fallen angels and a lot of things that have taken place in human history.
Now that you say that, a lot of people have taken stories out of that, I guess, and made their own novels and movies and books and things like that.
Absolutely. And this is really kind of a good reference book. If you read through it, for people who don't really understand the Book of Enoch, it gives you a lot of detail on the fallen angels.
Now, by the way, I have is this your web address, sandal-writers.com?
Yes, that's it.
What would our viewers find there? There's a lot of information just came out in the last 10 minutes, Dale.
It's okay. If you go into that webpage, the homepage basically shows all our books that are currently released, and with a link that will take you to an Amazon website. We can purchase them immediately as an ebook, a paperback, and a hardcover. And then if you click and go to the author page, there's a piece about the 4 authors that we write under the Sandell banner. Myself, Stephen Meeks, who did Future Conquest, and Cassie and Brandy. And then, of course, at the bottom of every page is a set of links that go to my Instagram, my LinkedIn, X, and everything else, YouTube. Then if you go into the interview page, there's actually interviews like with yourself and some other people I've done in the past, and there's hot links to those so they can go and watch the YouTube videos on different links of author interviews. And at the bottom of that page, I outlined the books that are coming out, which are the 2 we just spoke about, the Guardians book, the Fallen Angels book, and then the next series, which is behind them, They all have kind of a yellow cover. You had them there, the Mystic series, and later this year, and it was a 3-book outline series. And then if you go to the final page in there, I have a blog page where you can go in and read all our blogs and read upcoming information about sandal riders.
Now, let me ask you this about the industry in general, because you have hardcovers, you have paperback, you have ebooks. What's the trend? Where's it headed to?
The experts say it's ebook, electronic books. Your Nook or your Kindle is what most of the experts all tell you, especially with the younger generation. They want a very mobile product. They don't want to sit around and people our age and older and thumb through a paper book.
Yeah.
But your crowd of people who really have the time, the retirees and people who have time to sit and read now, a lot of them do like a paperback or a good hardcover book, not just for nostalgia reasons, but they can put their bookmark and come back and from that perspective. But as purely a sales point, it appears that ebooks are probably one of the hottest things out there. And if that's what you like, it's what you like, and you can have your own device, your cell phone, your Kindle, your laptop, your computer, to sit and read your books.
I've not done it yet, Dale, but I'm getting ready to try, just because I think it was you that told me I can make the type larger, I could change the contrast and stuff.
Yeah,
so.
And there's a very, very cool feature I was playing with that I have on my website, and that's it. You take your Alexa, and you tell it, read me books from my Kindle. Wow. And it will open up the book and read it. So Alexa will read you your Kindle ebooks if you have vision issues or you just don't want to take the time. So there's no reason not to get the data outside of even an audio book, which is very popular.
Great, yeah. I guess it's time for us to face the 21st, 22nd century, whatever we're in, 21st century.
We're going. Yeah,
that's nice. And I do a lot of audiobooks. I really like that because
I only did one. My first book was an audio book, and then I haven't done any since. I keep saying I'm going to. I just haven't done it yet. I got to slow down a little bit because, like I said, I got 5 books basically. 2 are in editing and 3 are in draft that are still down the highway. So, yeah.
I just want to kind of back through some of these books. Here's Wilson, Care Guide for Your Multi-Poo.
Yes.
The Enchanted Forest, which Dale and his wife Sandra wrote about maybe reading to your grandchildren or children. And let's finish on Ghosts of Hollow Ridge, which I'm hoping people will go out and buy today. Tell us last thoughts on that book or anything else you want our viewers to know.
Well, one thing real quick, locally, if you're in the Texas or Louisiana area, down between Houston and Galveston at San Leon on April 27th at Pier 6, there's what they call an indie author blowout. They're expecting 20-plus authors there to sign books and meet people. So if you're in the area, swing by. Outside of that, in the Ghost of Hollow Ridge book, there is a book too, and I'm kind of stepping back. I had a lot of involvement in helping them get this first book out, and I'm stepping back to be more of a publisher for them and let them do the writing more on the second book. And it'll be and it's in New Orleans, and they run into some zombie voodoo stuff in the second book. But that's pretty much what's going on.
I love books about New Orleans.
Right.
Thank you, Dale. We'll have you back. I want you to come every month. You never run out of things to talk about, that's for sure.
Sure. And no problem. I really enjoyed it. I was here in January, and I'm here again in April. I appreciate it.
And for our viewers, stick around because we have a lot with more right after this. Thanks, Dale.
Thank you.